Hey guys, welcome to a new video from NZ Pocket Guide. Today we are going to be talking about traveling in New Zealand because that's kind of what we do on this channel. We are kind of the experts of traveling in New Zealand. And so yeah, we're going to be talking about things to do with traveling in New Zealand. Yes, we will. I know it's crazy. We are we are getting lockdown, all these kind of things, but we will talk about traveling in New Zealand. So Laura, why are we the experts of traveling in New Zealand?
Well, this is Robin, and like he says, I'm Laura, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuides.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide, because it literally has thousands and thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand. Of course, when you are actually able to come to New Zealand, because once again, at the time of recording this live session, the borders are still closed to New Zealand, and and we're currently in lockdown still across the country, which means that
we are on alert level 3 right now, so not necessarily lockdown, but we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yes. Basically, anyone living in New Zealand right now are pretty much constrained to their bubbles. So there's not much traveling happening right now in New Zealand, but it's never too early to plan. So if the perfect open next year perhaps, and you want to plan your road trip super early, then that is what this channel is, what NZPocketGuide.com is for as well. So what we do during this live session is we take your travel questions on the live chat, so that's the best place to get your travel questions answered. But if you do miss the live session, you can always put your questions in the comments section of any of our YouTube videos, and we pull those together and go through those during the live session also. So yeah, Robin's just setting up our live, so I can see the live chat as well, so I can respond to your questions too. And we'll get into it.
Here you go. So we have, let's go up in the live chat. I missed some people for some reason. The whole thing is really slow right now, guys. So tell us how the quality is. But Violet, I know I saw you saying hi, saying that you were waiting. Tamo as well. I'm sorry, I cannot see all of your comments. Can you see most of the comments? Yeah, here you go. Can you read until this one maybe?
Okay, so
I can't see them.
So we have Violet saying waiting, and then we have Nana Ose Bonsu saying still waiting. So thanks for joining us really early, guys.
Yeah.
So Tamo says same here, smiley face.
And yeah, Tamo was saying it's almost 8:11 for him or her.
Oh yeah.
Him. It's 11 for them. That's quite late. We have Philippe that says hoping to see you soon. We have Nathan that says kia ora. Good morning, Laura and Robin. Good morning. We have Nana that says watching from Ghana. Wow, that is a country that would be hard to place on the map for people like us. And she says hello, Robin and Laura. Oh man, I think that everything is going so slow today. Is the quality terrible or what?
Yeah, let us know in the live chat, guys, if you can see us, if you can hear us, what the quality's like and stuff, because on our end, things are not looking too smooth.
Yeah, from our end, it looks absolutely awful. So tell us if that works for you guys. Anthony Comstock, which is in Rodeo, California, he says Morena. Morena means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language here in New Zealand. We have Clay from Dunedin, which says, good morning, all. We have Chadun Don, which gives us a couple of emojis. I love the emojis, so keep on going with the emojis. Let's just kia ora, Robin and Laura. Do you want to keep on going?
I don't have any more after that.
Okay, I know everything is really slow. Kiwi Lauren says, hi, Robin and Laura. Extreme Tarauta says, Morena. Wow, a bunch of you guys today. Violet Zulu that says hello guys. Nana says I'm having my NZETA visa and I don't since last year. So at the moment I don't think that NZDT will help you in any way, form or shape. The borders are still closed of New Zealand, so don't worry too much about that. It's something that you can do definitely just only a few months before your trip to New Zealand, even a few weeks before your trip to New Zealand. It's very quick and easy, and it's literally just what you need to kind of come as a visitor in New Zealand and everything. So it's something super simple because it's just for tourists or for people that are just passing through. So no need to panic too much about that until the borders reopen. Then you can start worrying about the NZDTA. Mosin says hoping for good news on NZ border opening dates. Mohsin, there is no news at all about the NZ border opening dates at the moment. So there is literally no news at all. Literally, there is that little news that today we won't even do a travel news segment. We decided that with Laura. We didn't prepare a travel news segment because there is no news. Auckland is still in alert level 4, and the rest of the country is in alert level 3, which basically means that we all confined to, and we call that bubbles in New Zealand. And this
is
word,
the NZ Pocket Guide bubble right here.
This word bubble has been ruined for me. I used to love bubbles. Bubbles were fun back in the days. Now bubbles are just COVID thing. Anyway, so we all confined to our little circle of people that you see. We basically just within your household. And we don't get to travel. People from Auckland can't even leave the city, all these kind of things. So at the moment, there is really no news for the borders. And if anything, all the stuff that we covered before may have been pushed back a little bit. So sadly, Mohsin, we're not going to have fantastic news.
I do have some live chat back, so I could
do you want to say hi to Grant for us?
Yeah, so Grant says, hi from Napier. Hello, how is it going in Napier? I'm sure you're just in your own bubble as well at the moment, but so we also have Christina Holden saying, tuning in for a few minutes. Hi, Robin and Laura. In-laws are visiting, so can't stay long. Hope everyone is well. Your in-laws are always visiting, aren't they?
That's true, actually.
Or you're visiting your in-laws or vice versa. But yeah, that's nice. We're not doing too much at the moment, considering that New Zealand's still in lockdown. Not much is happening.
Yeah, with this COVID thing, it's kind of it feels like life is at a standstill sometimes. But we can still look forward to your guys' next trip to New Zealand and all these kind of things. So we can still look forward to those kind of things. But it's kind of one of those weeks where literally, like, I was scraping the internet for some news. Like, this morning I was like, what am I gonna? You know what? Just nothing happened. We all had to
just accept it. Nothing's happened.
We just have to stay put. Like we're organizing like catch up with friends, which are literally like meters away. We're organizing catch up over Zoom and everything. It's just ridiculous. So yeah. Everything is at a standstill right now, guys. There is no news. New Zealand is at a standstill.
Yes.
All right. Who do we have next? Mohsin says, good morning from Nairobi, Kenya. Nice. That's awesome. You must be warm. Also, it's cold in New Zealand. But actually, one of the big news of the week is that it is now spring officially in New Zealand.
Woo!
That is the news.
Wow. We should have done a whole new segment on that.
Let's roll the jingle.
Yeah.
Today, it's spring in New Zealand. Okay.
You can start planting in your gardens, people. You can start planting in your garden.
Laura is planting things in our garden, actually. So, the seedlings are coming in, like...
I might have gone a bit too early. I'm just that desperate to do something.
I've been digging in the garden. I'm like, I will do something outside. I don't care. Ooh, we're feeling cheeky today, guys. Okay, what else is happening on the live chat? We're having... Kiwi Lauren that says everything. I'm good. Thank you very much. And I'm jealous of you that you always go to work at the local supermarket. At least you get out to go work. We work from home. So, we are stuck in our bubbles. Help us.
Yeah, we're going crazy.
Okay, we have Anthony Comstock says it's freezing on and off, but it's still coming in. So okay, that's good. I don't know why it looks like it stabilized a little bit on our side, but that was really in and out for us.
Yeah, I did just lose connection and then I've got it back. And
Clay says it's keep trying to buffer as you are speaking and remix from so far. Well, so in New Zealand, actually, something in the news, but it has nothing to do with travels. That's why we didn't really cover it. But one of the big news items this week in New Zealand as well is that we had a major internet outage, which was quite interesting. There was a lot of parts of New Zealand that were basically disconnected from the internet. It was fixed, but it lasted, let's say, like on and off for about 48 hours. And so, there may be some remnants of this kind of things right now. The network kind of, recovering or something. I don't know if you need to give a pill to the virus.
Maybe he's just, he's needed to lie down and
he's in convalescence.
Yeah.
Okay. Grant says, have you both jabbed? Yes, Grant. So you're in Napier, so you may know that now vaccines are available for people of many different ages. So the good thing is where we are based in New Zealand, actually, the vaccines was available for anyone that was walking in. We just had to do a quick booking through the system. But we have both been fully vaccinated since the 27th of August. So on 27th of August, we had our second dose. So yeah, we've done that quite a while ago. If you want to check out on the channel, there's a video of us getting our first jab, which was like really early on in August or even late July, I think. So yeah, so we both did get our jab thanks to our local health board, which is really good.
Very proactive.
Yeah, very proactive health board. What about you, Grant? Have you been fully vaccinated or not? I'd love to know that. And how are people responding to the vaccines in Napier? Is there a big intake or not? So if you guys don't know, Napier is on the east coast of the North Island of New Zealand. It's one of the major towns of New Zealand. And so, yeah, it'd be quite interesting.
The Art Deco capital.
Exactly.
For all your Art Deco
needs. Sam Smith says, hello, awesome expert. You always like the best way to say hi. I love Sam Smith. He says, Sam from Sydney here, also in a bubble. Stop using the word bubble. It's ruining bubbles.
So many bubbles.
Bubbles should be the most whimsical thing in the world, and now it's something associated with a deadly virus. How did that happen?
Yeah. We've missed a couple of comments on my side, so I'll just do them just in case you haven't got them. So Clay says, I've already cooked breakfast and gone for a walk around the block, and everyone is still asleep in bed on Father's Day. Something's not right here this morning.
Oh, happy Father's Day to all the fathers here.
Day.
Yeah.
God, your kids should have come and woke you up with a nice, I don't know what they do on Father's Day. Usually it's like cookie breakfast, but maybe that's for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, in here we don't even get the mailers anymore. Usually we know when it's Father's Day or something when you receive a mailer from the local supermarket, such as a Countdown, Pack and Save, or New World, and in there you say like, bacon is on sale for Father's Day, because it's always bacon for Father's Day,
Make your father a bacon butty.
Dad loves bacon. Interesting. So yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Also, Grant says, I'm working at a vax station, I guess that means, before it opens at 9 a.m.
Oh, cool.
Vax STN, Vax Station. Right?
Yeah, Vaccine Station, I'm guessing, yeah. Nice. So you're working there. So are you administrating the jabs or... Yeah, tell us a little bit how it's going and everything. And he says he's fully vaxxed, and he said otherwise he cannot work at the vaccination center. So yeah.
And he says we'll be signing off when it looks like I need to work.
Yeah.
So fair enough. You get back to your important job.
Yes, I mean it's kind of important.
Yeah.
Okay, Kim Loren says, I tend to have a ton of money at home and then I blow it, especially money well spent when I come to New Zealand. What are best frugal tips for traveling in New Zealand in case I feel like doing something cheaply sometimes? That's a good question. So yeah, best ways to be frugals when traveling in New Zealand. There is a ton of them. First up, pile on the free and cheap activities, right? There is so many free and cheap activities to do in New Zealand, such as very simple things like checking out the Huka Falls, which is actually the most visited natural attractions in the country.
Yes.
For a reason, it's free. But there is also fantastic hikes. Basically, New Zealand is all about the natural landscape. You can do all your $500 skydives everywhere, and it's a lot of fun. You can take your helicopter rides everywhere. It is a ton of fun. But sometimes, just doing free activities such as a hike, it's pretty good as well.
Yeah. Sorry, did you have more?
Oh, I have some more, but you can go on if you want.
I was just going to say... definitely the type of accommodation that you choose, because accommodation in New Zealand is notorious for being quite expensive. If you want to stay in a hotel or even a motel is usually quite expensive. But don't put off going to stay in a hostel. Hostels are not just about backpacker dorms or, bunking with lots of other people. You can get private rooms, which are essentially very, very similar to, say, a hotel. Maybe not super fancy, but you can get like ensuite rooms and stuff at like a fraction of the price than what it would be at like a motel or at a hotel. So yeah, choosing sort of more budget accommodation will definitely help you save a ton.
Yeah, and so that links very well to my next tip. When wanting to be frugal when traveling in New Zealand, one of the most important thing you can save money on is actually food. A lot of people spend a ton of money on food. It's not unusual to spend $40 to $50, per person per meal. And if you consider breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that can go really high, really fast. So making food for yourself is quite a big. You can shop for groceries and make yourself some meals. On NZPocketGuide.com, we do have lists of easiest meals to make in hostels. We have plenty of hostel tips. if you look on accommodation and then you click on hostels and then you click on hostel tips, and there is plenty of ideas right here, even easy meals to cook, things that you can like keep for a while and everything like that. So yeah, cook for yourself. Otherwise, there is quite a few motor lodges which have their own kitchens as well, where you'll be able to do your own cooking as well. So if you still want to go a little bit higher, but saving on food can be a big item right
Absolutely. When it comes to paid activities, because of course that's where a lot of money goes as well for people if they want to do bungee jumps or whitewater rafting, all that sort of thing, it's a good idea to be quite choosy on what paid activities you do and actually do some research before getting to New Zealand, because what happens a lot of the time is that when people come to New Zealand, they arrive here and they see all the like overwhelming amount of stuff to do. You kind of get a little bit of this FOMO, like fear of missing out, and you're like, I'm gonna pay to go do that activity. You end up doing like a whole bunch of different stuff that you perhaps didn't plan to do, and you might have not necessarily picked, say, the right skydive for yourself when there's like about 10 other skydives in the country that you could be doing. So yeah, just be really choosy and plan what your sort of big ticket items are going to be.
And that's why we have NZ Pocket.
I should didn't have spent all that.
Yeah. So the next thing that you can be doing when trying to save some money when traveling New Zealand is picking the right time of the year to travel in New Zealand. So New Zealand is notoriously busy from, let's say, November to March, mid-March, right? Yeah. So if you try to avoid the period between November, December, January, February, March, avoid those months and come in the other months, first, you're going to have a better travel experience, right? You're going to have less people around the country, but also it's not going to be the high season, so prices are going to be lower. The price of car rental, the price of camper van, all these kind of things can be much lower, and therefore you'll be able to save quite a bunch of money. Any other tips?
Nope.
I do have some more.
Yep, go on.
Pick the best way to travel for you, so the best travel method for you. So, there's not just car rental, camper van rentals and all these kind of things. There is also bus, great bus networks around New Zealand. You may not save a ton of money by renting a camper van and staying in holiday parks and in campsites. It may be cheaper to get a car, depending on the amount of people and the places that you want to visit. Be really choosy on how you're going to travel around New Zealand. Sometimes it's so much more comfortable to think, I'm just going to rent a car like I do back in the days, or I'm just going to get a camper van because like that I have everything I need in the back all the time. It's not necessarily always the cheapest, and quite often your first thing that you think about it is genuinely not the cheapest. And we talk about it really often on the channel when people come over and they ask, I want to do this and that, which one is the best? Definitely is not. Shopping at the supermarket, keep those little vouchers, gives you discount for fuel. A lot of time when you shop in New Zealand supermarket, you'll be given a discount that gives you 5, 10, 20 cents off per liter when filling up at a selected gas station. It's a really good way to save a lot of money on gas because, when traveling in New Zealand, you will spend quite a lot of money on gas. It's above $2 per liter, which makes it around $7 a gallon at the moment, if not a little bit more. So just to give you some context right now, it can be quite expensive to travel around New Zealand. Do you have something else?
I was just thinking about payment methods as well. If you are going around paying for everything on your credit cards, that can rack up some pretty hefty fees, because obviously there's going to be surcharges for using credit cards, and also the exchange rate for using international credit cards. So when you come to New Zealand, it's a good idea. If you're just staying here for a couple of weeks, then it's a good idea to take out cash, as much as you need for like a few days, and sort of minimize the amount of time that you're actually having to do those exchange rates or withdrawal fees, for example. But if you are staying in New Zealand long term, for instance, if you're maybe doing an extended trip for about 3 months, or if you're staying here on a working holiday, for example, up to a year, then it's much better to actually open a New Zealand bank account so that you can pay with what they call FPOS, which is just basically debit credit card, just paying with card. And that way that you can, have some money in New Zealand, but not have to pay all the fees that come with paying with international debit and credit cards.
Yeah, with payment, literally avoid credit card, avoid exchanging money at the airport, and avoid traveler's check. Anything else, you should be good.
Yeah.
The last thing that comes to mind is thinking about your roaming and being able to contact back home. It's in New Zealand, we do have some phone networks and everything here, but if you do use your phone from back home, you'll be surcharged. It's going to be really expensive. So sometimes getting a SIM card at the airport is kind of a good way to save some money. That's all I have. Do you have anything?
Just one thing, just quickly, is that if you do have someone that wants to come to New Zealand with you, it's always really easy to split a lot of the costs. You know, if you're doing car rental, then obviously it's going to be cheaper if there's more of you, for instance. Just all that sort of thing. If you're renting a private room, usually you are paying for the cost of the room rather than the cost per person. So splitting that, you know, that's usually a good way to save money. But if you are traveling solo, then obviously there are options for being cheaper. Like, for instance, staying in hostel dorms, where you only pay for per bed, for instance, and that, you know, then going by bus would then be cheaper. So there are options for if you are traveling solo. But yeah, usually if you are wanting to have a more private experience, more, you know, just you in the road, or, you know, you know, in your own room and stuff, then it's kind of usually better to sort of split the cost with someone else.
All right, so that wraps up our tips for traveling frugally around New Zealand. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all our hard work and stay up to date with all our videos. Plus, check out nzpocketguide.com for thousands of tips, hidden gems, and much more. Let's go back to live chat. Where are we at? You guys have said a lot of things. Henry Emeka. Well, I'm just going to talk to Henry while Laura figured out where we stopped talking.
Yes.
Henry says, honestly, I'm tired of waiting for the New Zealand borders to open. I don't know if I should think about going to another country. I have a work visa with, and it's just useless. Yeah, no, honestly, I understand, man. I don't have anything better than that to tell you. It sucks. That's all I can say. There is, you know, it feels like every single time we take a step forward, like last time we were covering the big border announcement where the New Zealand made a big plan for like the gradual reopening in 2022, and then this outbreak in New Zealand happened, and we were all in lockdown. And you know, yeah, I know it's easy to be defeatist. Defeatist. Sometimes I don't know if I'm using the proper words in English. You know, again, English.
That's how bad things have got.
You know, English is not my first language, so I'm trying, guys. All right. So yeah, so it is quite easy to kind of give up on things, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel, right? A lot of people are getting vaccinated. You know, there is a lot of intake. Look, we had Grant today that's working in a local vaccination center, and he told us that, you know, there was good turnout and everything. So that's good. You know, so people are getting vaccinated. The world is getting protected against COVID, and therefore there is going to be a return to the new normal. So you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It just sometimes just feel like most of the bad and feeling down feelings that a lot of us have come from the fact that we keep on putting ourselves expectations which are unrealistic, right? We keep on telling ourselves, oh, don't worry, it's all going to be fixed tomorrow. You know, like, oh, in next month going to be fixed. Next month going to be fixed. I think that we need to kind of come to peace with the fact that it will take a long time to solve. It is matters of months, if not years. It's not going to be matters of weeks. And once we kind of come to terms with that fact, then we can start living and planning forward with that in mind. So I think we should all collectively kind of realize things won't get back to normal until months from now with the current restrictions that we have, and you know, and how we can live right now. And let's look forward to things, a realistic timeline. So let's realize that, you know, your trip to New Zealand is not going to happen until mid-2022 to 2023 at the earliest, right? So start coping with that, understanding that, making arrangement with that in mind, knowing that, you know, you still have to make do with your life back home, and then things may get better, at least mentally. You know, mentally we will feel better about acknowledging when things will get back to normal, rather than keep on telling ourselves, yeah, it's going to be tomorrow. Just wait for Robin and Laura to give me an announcement, and it's going to be tomorrow. And, you know, it's not. We just can't, you know, and that's what we've been trying on the channel as well, to try to be realistic. Almost every single time we gave kind of border opening prediction, they were always like far further backward than what most people were saying, right? And or further forward in the future, basically, than what a lot of people were saying, because we do feel like it's going to take a long time. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't take a toll on everybody, right? It does take a toll on us. Look, we're acting a little bit crazy today just because there is no news. We've been on that bubble for so long. So we all act a little bit crazy. But I think that one thing that helps us stay grounded is the fact that we kind of acknowledge, listen, this is a very long-term thing, and sometimes we just sit down, we have a discussion about it, and we're like, okay, it's going to be a long-term thing. Let's just make a plan for the next 2 months. we know that nothing really much going to happen, but let's have a few things to look forward to for the next 2 months and then move forward. So yeah, I know it's not what you want to hear, Henry, but I hope that, maybe there is an ounce of a tiny light of useful advice that I just gave you right here. And I know I'm nobody that should give you that, right? I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm just a talking head in front of a camera, but that may have helped a little bit, and I hope it did. All right, where are we on? Did you find where we are on the live chat?
It comes and goes, but I did see a question about penguins. Was that on there somewhere?
Comes and goes for me as well. Anthony Comstock said the video froze. Christina says, no, we haven't had too many visits. So she's talking about the in-law. She says, it's nice to get a couple of visits in. Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah. Clay says, I watch on my TV and phone playing in silence so I can use it to comment. Interesting. That's a good system that you have. Yeah. Anthony says it came back. So, yeah. Nana says, when am I legal to enter New Zealand with my NZDTA visa? Honestly, if you just have an NZDTA visa, you will be one of the last one in the queue right now. So there is no knowing when you'll be able to come into New Zealand. So not until the borders are fully open for your country. That is literally the only answer I can give you. And that will take months and months. So don't plan this year, that's for sure. Probably mid-2022 to late 2023 at the earliest. Violet Zulu says, Guy, I really want to watch your live, but I'm experiencing networks problem every time you are live. I'm ending up making a cup of coffee. Oh. Well, at least you get to enjoy coffee. Sorry, yeah, it looks even on our side, it's pretty terrible. And I think it has something to do with Laura's tablet.
Do you think I should switch it off?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Just keep it for today, and we'll do a test next week, and we'll see that. But yeah, we'll try some things in and out right now, guys. And we're really sorry about that. Your feedback is important to us, and we're currently experiencing unforeseen technical difficulties. Please bear with us as our team is currently working on the issue.
I've got my live chat back, so maybe I can take it.
We are Clay with a bunch of emojis.
Saying 48 hours without internet, and then many emojis to describe what that experience would be like, which I completely agree with. I'm glad that we were one of the ones that didn't lose internet.
It was funny. There was a map of New Zealand where the internet outage was. And there was one area that wasn't affected by the outage. That's literally where we were. It was score.
Grant says that yes, he was fully vaccinated. Did we already go through that?
Yeah, it's all straightforward. Can you read what Ranjit says?
Ranjit says, "Do you have any new predictions about the border reopening?"
Ranjit, listen. Yeah, I just had a chat about the lockdown right now, and I know we're behind on the live chat, so I know you asked that before at this chat, but at this stage right now, I am not going to make another video for border opening predictions until we actually hear something from the government and there is actually something to cover. I know at the beginning, we didn't know what was happening with this COVID things, and we made a couple of videos with some border opening predictions, which turned out to be wrong. Why they were wrong, and nobody really could know. It was based on information that we got from the government and everything. So unless there is some official announcement, we're not going to do some border opening predictions. But so far, the latest news will be, from the government, and that was before the current outbreak in New Zealand. That was mid-2022 to 2023 for something more general. So, consider that was before this outbreak right here, so that may be pushed a bit more backwards. Okay. Sally Haig says, hi, Robin and Laura. Oh, yeah, she has a question about penguins. We'll talk about it in a second. I just want to read about what I said. Say, good advice on the lockdown. I am 10 weeks in Sydney lockdown with no end in sight. Damn Delta bubble. Delta bubble? Delta variant? Why are you calling it Delta bubble? Don't ruin even more the word bubble, Sam. How dare you? Well, I hope that you find some ways to get entertained, Sam. We obviously do have a lot of videos on the channel you can watch. We've been watching some videos, playing some video games. We even play board games virtual with some friends. That's we are attempting a lot of different things. But yeah, hopefully you get yourself entertained, Sam. But we'll get back to your other questions, Sam. We're just going to read what Sally says.
Can you read it? If you have
okay,
it?
Cool. Hi, Laura and Robin. Travel question. Where is an easy, accessible place to see penguins, and when is the best time of the year to see them? Thank you. I like that question. Where are the best spots to see penguins in New Zealand? There are plenty of fantastic spots to see penguins in New Zealand, but For these kind of questions, I will hand you to our penguin expert, Laura.
To our penguin correspondent. There are, like Robin says, there's actually a lot of places where you can see penguins throughout the year. One place in particular where you can see them without really needing to aim for a specific season is Oamaru, which is on the South Island. It is just north of Dunedin. Maybe 1 or 2 hours away. And basically, if as the sun's going down and you're walking toward the waterfront in town, you will see the odd penguin crossing the road and stuff. Like, that's how.
So drive slowly.
Yeah, better to go for a walk than go driving around, basically. Like, if you're staying in Oamaru, go down to the waterfront. There is actually a paid experience down there called the Oamaru, I think it's called Blue Penguin Colony. So even if you're just walking along the waterfront in that area, you are very highly likely to see little blue penguins sort of waddling to their various different nests, which could be under buildings or sort of like in a cliff somewhere. And yeah, you'll see them just by walking just after the sun goes down.
So a couple of things I'm going to say about that. So stay quite far away from the penguins. So, if you feel like you are 2 meters or closer to the penguins, walk away. Let them behave how they do. It's quite important. And the footage that I'm going to be playing when we republish this video is going to be of the Oamaru Blue Penguin Colony, which is a paid activity, but most of the money goes into conservation and all these kind of things. So it's kind of a good thing to do, and you will have the best viewing experience because they do use special lights which allow you to see the penguins, but the penguins not to see you. All these kind of things. So it's well kind of organized in order to kind of respect that, so you have a better viewing experience, and you also respect the penguins a little bit more. So that kind of that kind of is more my tip for Oamaru. So although we've done both, right? We've seen them on our own, and we've done the Blue Penguin Colony. I will strongly recommend doing the Blue Penguin Colony over both of them.
Yeah, so another good place to see penguins and actually quite a lot of different wildlife without sort of, just seeing them by chance is in the Catlins. And this is right near the bottom of the South Island along the coast. It is just between, it's basically the area of coast between Invercargill and Dunedin. And over there, they have many different beaches where you might be lucky enough to spot penguins, but there are particular places where you can go to get a better chance at seeing penguins. One place is called Roaring Bay, which is just next to Nugget Point. And Nugget Point is where that famous lighthouse picture in the Catlins is taken, if you know what I'm referring to. They actually have bird hides there so that you can go into a proper place where you can watch the penguins without disturbing them. And the best time to go and watch the penguins from there is usually after 3 p.m. So sort of like on the evening, like late afternoon, evening time is when you're most likely to see yellow-eyed penguins, which are one of the rarest types of penguins in the world. You can actually see them sort of waddling back and forth across the beach to their nests and feeding their chicks. And usually around, you said when's the best time? Usually around November, December, like the summer months are kind of the best time to actually see more action. But actually throughout the year, you can still be lucky enough to see penguins. But if you really want the really best time, then yes, summer months are usually the best time to go. And if you are in the Catlins area looking for yellow-eyed penguins, then after 3 p.m. is usually when you start to see more activity. And another place in the Catlins is Curio Bay, which is also famous for its fossilized forest in the rock pools in that area. But yeah, they have a little bit of a viewing platform so you can see the penguins going back and forth from afar. They usually have it cordoned off so that people can't get too close to the penguins, but obviously if they're not cordoned off, then obviously don't go rummaging in any of the bushes around there because it's a very sensitive area for the penguins.
Same thing, I'm going to rain on the parade. Stay far away from them. So if the penguins are bigger, you give them even more space. So if it was 2 meters for the little blue penguins, you're going to give them 5 meters for the yellow-eyed penguins. And one of the good tips is to actually get a camera with the telephoto lens, something where you can zoom, so like that you can stay far away and you can still, see them and
take some
binoculars.
Pictures. If you're a keen bird watcher, you probably already have some binoculars.
Exactly, yeah. So just kind of respect the animals. Stay away. Like sometimes we have had sometimes when we saw a bunch of tourists kind of almost running toward, oh, there's a penguin.
Yeah.
But Laura is gonna go again. stuff. I'm just here to rain on the parade every time. Be like, respect the penguins.
Yeah.
All right, next spot, Laura.
Another place it's kind of in a similar area on the east coast of the South Island, and this is the town of Timaru. They have a beach there called Caroline Bay, and yeah, in that area, sort of towards the I don't know when you're facing, it's towards the right side of the beach. When you're facing the beach from the land and you're looking at the beach, you head right and you basically go all the way to the end of that beach. And there are some penguin nests in that area. The good thing about this is that there are street lights up, so it's not too hard to see the penguins. Again, as long as you keep your distance and you can just watch the species are the little blue penguins that live there. So with the street lights on, you can actually see them quite well going to their nests and sort of making a ruckus because they're usually calling out each other as well. And yeah, we have videos on this channel of us watching the little blue penguins in Timaru. So yeah, check out the video if you want to see the full experience of what that's like. Do you have any raining on the parade to do for Timaru, Robin?
Well, still stay, little blue penguins, stay 2 meters away from them at least. And yeah, don't use, okay, here you go. Don't use flash photography as well. It's really bad for them. So don't use flashlight or flash photography. If you do have a light, make sure you put something red in front of it in order not to damage them whatsoever. Do not point your light or flash into wildlife. It's so, I mean, it's basic, but yeah, don't do that, please. That's my rain on the parade one. Do you have something else to talk about?
I do, yes. So now we're going to.
I don't like the dynamic of me raining on the parade of
the penguin parade.
Yeah.
So now we're going on to the Banks Peninsula, which is the most famous town there is Akaroa, and this is just maybe a couple of hours in there. If you go, so it's harder to actually see blue penguins in passing here, but if you go on any of the sort of tours, for instance, there's actually a dedicated penguin tour there called
Pohatu Penguins.
Pohatu Penguins, which will take you to the largest white flippered blue penguin colony in New Zealand.
Check and check.
Yes, so they'll take you on tours to go there, and the best time is around the summer months to see the most amount of penguins there. But they do like really good conservation work where you'll actually get quite a closer look because they're very good in, they camouflage you out. So, you're dressed to impress the penguins, not to scare them. And
you dress to hide from the penguins.
Yeah, basically they dress. Yes, that's what I meant. Not to impress the penguins, but yeah. So they dress you out, make sure that you're in a, you also can go behind hides and stuff. So, it's a good sort of ethical way to see the penguins.
Yes.
But also they are doing sort of conservation work where they might be feeding chicks that have been abandoned in their nests. So that kind of gives you a chance to actually see penguins a little bit closer than.
Like really close. And you'll see the footage when I will post the video. I mean, you literally, you were like that close because they're just feeding them and everything. And that's
exactly. So that's a good, we would always say like, you're going to get the best penguin viewing experiences if you do go on a sort of an actual tour that where they're doing conservation work and stuff like that. So that's where you are going to get the best viewings of penguins. You're most likely to encounter penguins that way rather than just where you'll probably have little knowledge on where to see penguins really when you are like just traveling around New Zealand. And we've always had better experiences being with tours.
Yes.
Which brings me to another tour that's worth mentioning for Dunedin. So that's on the Otago Peninsula. And that's again on the east coast of the South Island. It's the penguin mecca on the east coast of the South Island. But in Dunedin, a really good tour to go with is Elm Wildlife Tours. So they also get access to private conservation areas where on that tour, we saw both blue penguins and yellow-eyed penguins really close. They they have all the hides. They have the binoculars for you to see, to get really good viewings. So that's kind of what the approach we would most recommend is going with a tour. It's definitely worth it. They're never too crazy expensive either. They're usually very fair price. So that would be our recommendation. But yeah, that's all the different locations, I think.
Yeah, and so I have nothing to say about when you're with a tour, because when you're with a tour, you're managed by the guide, so you make sure that you abide by like all the conservation laws and everything like that, which is quite awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sally, I hope that this helped you plan your trip. I know that every single time you ask us a question, we're just talking about it for 10 minutes because that's literally what we do. But yeah, that wraps up our answer on the best time of the years and the best spots to check out penguins in New Zealand. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to reward all our hard work and stay up to date with all our videos. Plus, check out nzpocketguide.com for thousands of tips, hidden gems, and much more. Let's go back to the live chat. We have some question for so Rock Jacobal first quickly. He says it turned into a penguin documentary. I mean, that's great. That's quite funny. Why? Is it because I'm acting like a penguin?
Yeah, we don't have any real penguins on set, but we can.
I can do the penguin.
Do a reenactment.
Robin goes for the feeding.
Oh, God.
The Robin type of penguins. Okay, Sam Smith was saying the Tongariro National Park is considered the best day walk in New Zealand. Do you agree? I can't imagine it's better than Mount Cook. Looking forward to finding out one day. Yeah. Well, knowing that we have like at least 10 videos about the Tongariro National Park and the Tongariro crossing and all that. I mean, it is a great walk. Oh yeah, it's funny, haha. But it is a great walk, and you know, like it's definitely is fantastic. Like Mount Cook has a lot of fantastic height around, but you don't get really to climb Mount Cook. You know what I mean? Like you can't really say you climb Mount Cook. If you do that, it's literally like it's an expedition. You know, it's the tallest mountain in New Zealand. Blah blah blah. But the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, you literally, you know, go
over a mountain.
Exactly, you go over a mountain within one day, and it's super accessible and everything. And it's where there's, you know, models of the Lord of the Rings and all that thing. So, you know, I feel that, you know, as a one-day walk, it is really up there. Like, would you say it is one of the best one-day walk or not, Laura?
Yes, I definitely would. I think that because there's so many different variety of landscapes as well. And also, you know, walking in a volcanic landscape and actually seeing volcanic features is usually, it's quite extreme sort of landscapes compared to what you might normally experience elsewhere in the world. You get to see very distinct sort of volcanoes with the, you know, the lava flows that solidified. You get to see the really vibrant colored lakes, the steaming vents, all that sort of stuff. There's even a waterfall on the way in and then forest on the way out. So I think that's why it's kind of up there as like the sort of top day walk, because it has so much like a variety of landscapes, but also some of the more extreme, like it's not it's a journey. It's a experience you can find in quite a lot of places in New Zealand. There's quite a lot of hikes in the mountainous areas that aren't as popular as Mount Cook, and Mount Cook has that sort of popularity because it is the, you know, that area is where you'll find the tallest mountains in New Zealand and the longest glaciers in New Zealand. But yeah, I feel like they're quite different. They're both amazing in their own way. So I guess what is the best day hike? People will have different opinions depending on which landscape amazed them the most.
All right. Rock Jacobal says, I heard that Immigration New Zealand has given back the application fee to those who have submitted their application before the visa apps post. So I guess New Zealand will be is to be forgotten for at least a few years from now. Yeah, so that's basically what they're trying to do. They try to kind of like flush the backlog of work and then restart afresh. Also, there's going to be a lot of new immigration laws coming into play and everything like that. So basically, a lot of things are being reworked. So for immigrating to New Zealand, it's going to be very different post-COVID. When it comes to traveling to New Zealand is not to be forgotten. There is
a lot of
stuff to say. Woo! I almost lost our PG-13 stuff, but there is a big load of things to do here.
A mighty load of things that you can do here.
So yeah, there is a lot of things to do here in New Zealand. So you definitely should come and travel to New Zealand. Damn, we are cheeky today. Okay, Sam Smith says, and I was trying to calculate to count that. He's asking. And that's a specific question, Laura, and I think you may have an opinion, I may have one. But he say, do you prefer to travel the South Island clockwise or anti-clockwise? Any difference? Example, like better viewing, driving toward mountains and everything. So I don't think there is much of a difference, but I think that anti-clockwise is better. So you arrive in Picton and you start going down the west coast and you do it that way. That is how I think would be better, but I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling.
Yeah, that tends to be the route that most bus tours take.
Yeah.
It's the thing that's kind of been like, someone at some point has established that is the way to go around New Zealand, because that is, like I say, what most bus tours do and how most people really travel around New Zealand. I think it's also that if you're saying arriving in Picton and you are ending in Christchurch, that's what a route that a lot of people take.
But on the other hand, if you want to look for some convenience, like going against the grain, usually it's kind of a good idea, because you basically gonna have a different experience, but second, you're gonna have less people around and everything. So maybe it's smart to kind of do like a infinity shape or H shape, and kind of cross an afterpass. And you kind of do it that way if you want to do one of those. So that could be a good idea as well. Let me do a little bit of research on that and see if I do have a more in-depth opinion on that next week for you, Sam. But it's a very interesting question. And Sam says he was referring to the hooker. That's what he says. I'm reading the comments. And YouTube is saying that he's wanting to censor your comment because you said the word hooker in the chat. So yeah, here you go. But no, we do have the right to say hooker, because that's the hooker track. It's not it's not the job. All right, moving on to all these computers and robots handling all our lives and deciding what we can say and what we can't. We have Mohammed that says, "Hi, how are you?"
Pretty good. Yeah.
I'm doing pretty awesome as well. We're feeling a little bit cheeky today, just because it's just lockdown and all this kind of thing. So we're
getting cabin fever.
Yeah. Sally says, "Sounds fantastic. Thank you." That's about all the penguins, and she put a lot of penguins emojis. They're so cute.
Nice.
Those penguins emojis are really cute. By the way, guys, so the live session, we still have about between 10 to 15 minutes with you guys. I did put a poll today. I did put it really early. I don't know if you noticed, but do you guys watch us on phone, on a computer, on TV, or other? So let us know where you're watching us. And somebody, I think that was Martina, that says she's watching us on her iPad. So yeah, she told us there was something different. So thanks for telling us, Martina. I appreciate it. Who else do we have? We have Alamin Mohammed, which is basically saying hi with a little emoji. How are you doing?
Hello.
Jonathan Vincent is here and says, "Greeting all. Just thought I'd pop in for a bit. Late, I know. You're not late as long as you're here. It's all